Hey D-Money, how do I play Control Warrior? I know you're the Control Warrior god. Well, settle down, little Jimmy. This is the ultimate guide to Control Warrior. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's going to be quick. It's going to be easy. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's DmoneyGames. I stream every day on Twitch, by the way. If you want to help out the channel by dropping that subscribe, dropping a like on the video, that would help out a lot. I would appreciate it. But let's get into the Control Warrior guide here. This is a list that I made myself. It also runs Cthulhu. You can't see it at the moment, but made this list myself. Went 25-6 yesterday on stream with it. Been doing really well with it even before the nerfs. I think it's really strong, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to play it. Let's go. All right, first things first, let's get into the overall strategy with the deck. So, of course, you have Cthulhu in the deck. That is a win condition in certain matchups. There are going to be matchups like Warlock that will make it so you don't really ever get off Cthulhu. Also, there's a lot of fast-paced decks like Hunter and Paladin as well, Secret Paladin, that will make it so you usually don't get off Cthulhu, but the Cthulhu spells are just pretty nice just to have in your back pocket anyway. It does get you farther away from cards that you have in your deck besides the Cthulhu pieces, of course, but you do have cards like Outrider's Axe. Outrider Axe is your main draw engine, and it'll help you get to all of your cards, along with Malygos as well. So another win condition that we have in the deck is Rattlegore. Rattlegore is very, very strong right now, especially against Warlock. And yeah, you get Rattlegore down, you usually win the game in like a lot of matchups. Very strong with the absence of silence in a lot of decks. The deck also has a lot of removal cards to get you to that late game stuff. It has some oozes in there to deal with some pretty aggressive decks like Poison Rogue. It's got Rancor to deal with Face Hunters. It's got Bladestorm. There's a lot of things to deal with the early game pressure of these aggressive decks. I found my win rate to be really good against Hunter and other aggressive decks. Haven't tried any Paladin matchups yet because I literally have not queued into a Paladin yet. But I'm assuming it would perform pretty decently. Paladin should be one of the strongest decks in the game still, so I'm really not sure. But so far, haven't had a problem with aggro. You do have a lot of tools to deal with it. Let's go into the Mulligan. When we're looking at the Mulligan here, it depends on the matchup, of course. So I'm gonna break down the matchup by matchup kind of thing right here. Against Control Warlock, you are literally going to go for Rattlegore. That is really it. So in your Mulligan, you're going to go really hard for Rattlegore, and if you don't have Rattlegore in your opening Mulligan, then I want to see you going for Outrider's Axe / Corsair Cache to get you that Outrider's Axe, because that is your main draw engine. You can usually chop down a lot of their minions and get to your Rattlegore or your Talon Fordring. And you also want to go for Talon Fordring. So if you do have Talon Fordring in your starting hand, I recommend keeping it, because then it's a 50-50 chance of getting Rattlegore, unless you draw the Malygos beforehand, then it's 100%. But yeah, going for Rattlegore in Control Warlock / the weapon to draw to Rattlegore, that is the strategy. You get Rattlegore down, you get Faceless Manipulator on the Rattlegore, you win the whole entire game, just like that. It's actually uncanny how good it is until, so, you know, I'm saying it's really good. It's an auto win for now, but Warlocks can tech in Ironbeak Owl or Silas Darkmoon if they want to try to counter this new up-and-coming deck here, Control Warrior. So just be warned, all right? It works for now very well, but they might start teching against it. When mulliganing against Face Hunter or any other aggressive decks, you are, of course, going to want to go for your early game minions and your early game removal spells. That is like Armor Vendor, Sword and Board, maybe even an Ooze, depending on the matchup. Samuro is always a good keep. Even Kargath Bladefist is not bad as well. Outrider's Axe, you love to see it in like almost any matchup, except probably Spellmage. If you are going against a Poison Rogue or another class that uses weapons, maybe like Paladin, and you want to get rid of their Paladin weapon, their secret weapon, I would recommend going for the oozes, going for that that's quick start again with the early game removal spells like sword and boards. Maybe keep a blade storm. Samuro is always nice. And when going against priest, you do want to go for like the more value centric cards, maybe like Scorpid, and Outrider's Axe is always decent to get rid of the Sethic Veilweavers. Maybe Talon Fordring. Also a thing for Priest to note. This is very important against Priest. You do not want to play Rattlegore against Priest unless you can cheat him out very early with Vol'jin. Because if you do play Rattlegore at a reasonable time against Priest, they will be able to Soul Mirror it or make copies with Gift of Luminance, stuff like that. Really, that is the way to lose against Priest. Priest is a very free matchup for you. It should be a very easy game in most cases, but the one way to lose that matchup is by playing Rattlegore pretty early on. I like to save Rattlegore as like a checkmate kind of scenario. You know, maybe after I play Cthulhu, or right before I play Cthulhu, get Rattlegore down, so it basically just sets up lethal in multiple ways. Just don't want to give them a chance to interact with it too much, because that can be, you might see 4 or 5 Rattlegores on their side of the field very soon, and it's not gonna feel good. Last but not least, let's go over some combos that you can do with this deck, some pretty cool things. So, Blademaster, Samuro, and Kargath are in the deck with Stage Dive, 1 Stage Dive. And a lot of people ask me if Samuro is good. I think Samuro is good even if you don't get the buff off with the Stage Dive. But just being able to consistently get that buff off on him if he's still in the deck, it just makes it really, really good. So you have Stage Dive with those 2 rush guys that are very premium rush units. Then you also have the Faceless Manipulator, like I talked about before, with Rattlegore or other things. If you need another taunt, you can get it down on your Talon Fordring, get it down on your Cthulhu piece that summons the 6/6 taunt. You also have Shadow Hunter Vol'jin, which you can do some cool things with, some pretty cool things with. You can put your ooze back to your hand and then play your ooze again. It's a really flexible card. You can put a lot of things back to your hand, or you can put things back to your opponent's hand and get out maybe Ticketus or Yashiraj. You also have a lot of cool combos that you can do with Barov as well. So you can do Barov into Rancor. You can gain like 12 armor from that. If you need to stay alive against something, you also can there's so many ways to activate Barov, whether it's Blade Storm, Sword and Board, Shield Slam. You can even Samuro with Barov and clear the board. I think this deck is pretty polished overall. I don't see anything I would really change right now. I mean, maybe if there's not a lot of weapons in the meta, I would take out an ooze and maybe put in another Scorpid, or maybe you could play around with Minefield. I had tested Minefield before. It seemed like it was very unnecessary, especially with all the spell mages that were around, but maybe things have changed. But overall, I like this list a lot, and I've been doing very well with it so far, and I hope you do too. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down below in the comments section, and that's about it. I hope this guide helps, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.